Wellness is also about having hard trade-offs about workload with employees and saying, no, you're not, nobody could get everything that's on your to-do list done. And so I, as your manager, are going to sit down with you and say, here are the 2 things we're going to prioritize, and here are the 8 things we're going to say no to right now in favor of your wellness.
Welcome once again. It's Relationships at Work, a leadership podcast helping you build workplace connections, improve culture, and avoid blind spots. I'm your host, Russel Lolacher, a communications and leadership expert with a couple of decades of experience in both those areas specifically, and a whole heap of curiosity on how we can make the workplace better. All week we've been talking wellness. Wellness. It feels very buzzwordy, doesn't it? It feels like somebody just throws that around at any chance they get. Maybe it's in a work-life balance conversation. Maybe it's in a burnout conversation. Maybe it's mental health conversations. Maybe it's coming from HR, executive, your leadership. You know what? I don't care where it comes from, as long as it's taken seriously, as long as it's understood. And hopefully through these conversations we're having this week, you're getting your own sense of it. Even if you had a really firm grasp on it, I'm hoping there's some nuggets in here that are really resonating. This is part 4 of our 4-part conversation. So we're wrapping it up as we do by talking about culture, because some cultures are great at wellness. Some are not. Some organizational cultures are bad at it, while subcultures are fantastic at it. It's so different from team to team, from organization to organization, but we still need to figure this thing out. And I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. This is a good one. This is a great way to end it, talking about the larger organizational understanding of wellness. Stephen has been a phenomenal guest this week. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we should get into it because we've got a lot more to hear from Stephen on. Hold on. So to pull back then, so for example, we've spoken about the importance of hard trade-offs, but a lot of organizations aren't good about supporting boundaries like that and allowing, and they'll say, we'll fail to learn. I'm like, yeah, but you punish failure.
That's right.
You can talk about it all you like, but you don't promote the people that fail, last time I checked, or the people that are learning. So how does a culture of no, for lack of a better word, support wellness, in favor of wellness? And how do you get an organization to embrace that?
Yep. I love that. I just had a conversation about this very topic, and the word that I like to bring in, Russell, is the word evidence, and I'll explain what I mean. So just the other day, I was working with a client, and they had a team, frankly, you talk about cultures, plural. The team is struggling with a lot of conflict in what we'll call a toxic culture, because everybody's afraid they're going to get fired. And the senior leaders are like, I don't know why they're afraid. Nobody's going to get fired. And I said, tell me this. Do they have some evidence to believe that there's reason to be afraid? And the answer was, actually, yeah. We just let go 3 of our senior leaders. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they have real life experience and evidence to be afraid. So to answer your question, it's about, and so then I started explaining, we need to give them some new evidence, new data points to start to believe that what used to be true is changing and will no longer be true. Because until that changes, until they see real evidence, they're going to continue to be afraid. So what do you have to do as a leader? And it sounds easy, but you have to create new experiences that these people, when they take risks, you talk about, celebrating failure, that when they make a mistake, that bad things won't happen. And actually, when they make a mistake, they're going to be celebrated. And so you have to give them totally different experiences. Right. And then only then will they start to, fear is based on lack of trust and uncertainty. So you have to create conditions of certainty so that they're not afraid. Right.
You're talking about operationalizing it as well. I think about so we talk about values a lot, and I make jokes all the time. Values on the poster, values on the computer screen don't mean crap in the workplace.
That's right.
It's how are they rewarded? How are they recognized? So with the lens of wellness, as an organization, executive, HR, however, what leadership should they be recognizing? Should they be rewarding in regards to wellness to show everybody else that this is the kind of organization that we want to support?
I love it. I'm going to answer that in 2 words and then I'll provide some context. The calendar and the budget. Now, what do I mean by that? I once heard a politician here in the US say, it's like, don't tell me your values. Show me your calendar and show me your wallet. And then I'll tell you what you actually value, because it's about how are you spending your time, because that shows your priorities, and how are you spending your money or not spending your money, right? And I've never forgotten that. And organizations are the same way as it relates to wellness. Don't show me the poster in the gym that says you believe in wellness, because, by the way, the gym is empty. Why? Because everybody's at their desk working and they don't have time to go to the gym. Don't show me the poster. Show me the calendar. Show me the budget. So 2 things that can happen is that they assign budget. I mean, that's a big one for a traditional organization. Don't tell me you believe in leadership development, but the first thing that when budgets get tight, you strike that line item in the budget, right? You reinforce that as a budget. And also you reinforce what I'll call your calendar, your schedule, your time. Here's an example. A lot of organizations, at least I've been part of, have the irony is that they have meetings that they require their employees to be in from 9 to 5. And then the employees, after they leave all the meetings, have to go get the real work done, let alone go be well. So what do? They institute, and this is a tactic I've seen some organizations do really well, is they have like blackout times in the day and the week where there are no meetings. You cannot schedule a team meeting at like 12 to 1 or anytime after 4 p.m., whatever, right? It's not a silver bullet, but it starts to give some tactical reinforcement that this thing we believe about giving people time to go be well or not be in a meeting or get their work done, we mean it, which is great. Some managers, here's a little tactic. Managers will use tools on their computers and email programs to prevent, I can send an email right after 5 o'clock, but it will not show up in my employee's inbox until 10 a.m. the next day. So a lot of little tactics like this that they're not silver bullets, but they can start to help us reinforce what we say we value.
I think it also reinforces what wellness to me is different than wellness to you, Stephen. So for instance, your perfect example of that is, say there's an executive or a leader going, it's in my brain. Wellness for me is getting it out so I don't sit and stew on it, right? I need it to release into the world. However, the wellness of the person that you're trying to engage with is, leave me alone for these hours of the day. I don't care when you are inspired. So for it to sort of have that moment where you get it out, but it doesn't meet the audience until they're ready for it, I think that's key, because again, wellnesses are being defined by 2 different people.
Bingo. I even heard about a recent technology tool that will allow all of us basically to block all the incoming digital data. So what do I mean? I mean texts, emails, Slack. We have so many of these technology things, it creates this constant form of stress. You talk about fight or flight, like, oh my God, my boss just texted me. Like it creates a shock and we feel impulse to immediately react. There are tools now that are ironically, technology tools to help blunt some of those things. So the easy idea is that you put on do not disturb on your phone. There are similar things you can do to email programs, IMs, tweets, and texts. So we can have a bit of that wellness. I'll give you a great example. One of the things I used to do is I would turn all that stuff off, go hide in a conference room where nobody knew so I could get work done for 2 hours. These were some tactics I had on my control to create focus. Right. And I think these are things that we as leaders in organizations can support and enable from a wellness perspective.
And I think it hammers home, we're kind of dancing around a bit here, but I think it really reinforces the fact that wellness being different to different people, if we understand that better, like some people, wellness for them is working in a very busy environment. It invigorates them. It makes them very, like, they feel the energy, they feed off that energy, extroverts, to be able to channel it back into their work. Others want to be in a silo in the middle of nowhere and just leave me alone. I'll interact with people virtually. So it brings that diversity, equity, inclusivity element to it, is that if we have different definitions, we can be more inclusive if we have an understanding of what each person's wellness level is. And that's on leadership to sort of figure out.
And I love that. And I wish more organizations, and I hope more organizations are listening to this podcast for that very thing. So you get into something like, whatever you call it, the how many days of work we're coming to the organization. Right. Frankly, I think we miss the point when we start coming up with kind of arbitrary, everybody's going to come in for 3 days and everybody's going to have 2 days off. I think if it's more flexible, where the manager of the team, the employees have the very conversation you're talking about, saying, what's wellness to you? Maybe the extrovert's like, man, I want to be in the office 5 days a week because I can't have enough stimulation with humans. Yeah. And the introvert says, you're going to get the most out of me if I come in maybe once a week, but I have that quiet time, that recharge time at home, right? And having that conversation on a one-to-one basis rather than an arbitrary basis.
So what's a hard truth here that you think organizations really need to accept if they're going to get serious about promoting, fostering, supporting wellness in the workplace?
Wellness matters. Wellness is not just a fluffy term. Wellness is also not having a gym in your office and saying we've done our job, because employees will naturally just make time to do it. Wellness is not about, with all due respect to my friends in HR, having a work-life balance program, whatever that might mean. That's not wellness. Wellness is also about having hard trade-offs about workload with employees and saying, no, nobody could get everything that's on your to-do list done. And so I, as your manager, are going to sit down with you and say, here are the 2 things we're going to prioritize, and here are the 8 things we're going to say no to right now in favor of your wellness. And we know in the long term, if we invest in you, you're going to be more productive, more engaged, and help the organization, right? And it's that intellectual rigor of trade-offs, but also values that I think the best organizations understand.
So I love wrapping it up with the idea of, okay, what's one thing we can do? People are listening. They're like, okay, I don't know what my wellness gauge is. I don't know what my teams are. And they want to start down this path, their wellness journey. What's the first baby step they start tomorrow or right now?
Yep. I like to ask one question, and you can ask this ask this of yourself and of your team members. What's one thing that fuels you that if you had permission to, you would go do? When I have people reflect on that, almost always, when I give them that permission, they're like, oh, I know what fuels me. It's reading a book. It's spending time with a loved one. It's running. It's music. It's fishing, right? It's watching a movie. If I only could do that, right? I'm like, okay, we're going to do that. It sounds easier than it is, but what it takes is commitment to yourself and a willingness to say no to everything else. And so I would ask everybody who's listening to this session, identify what's one thing that fuels you and commit to yourself that you're going to do it within the next 24 hours. And then make a commitment to yourself of how you're going to sustain that over time. And lastly, identifying it. It's a little cheesy. Find an accountability partner or buddy that will hold you to that. I know that's been really helpful for me. Russell, thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here with you.
It's been great, Steve. Thank you so much. I feel a bit more wellness involved. Like for me, I'm an extrovert, so I love a good conversation. That's sort of a thing that fuels my bucket as well and helps me start my day, is just sort of getting below this of surface conversations. So I appreciate you filling my bucket today. So thank you very much for your time.
And likewise, I feel rejuvenated, amplified.
There's Stephen Kohler. He's an author, certified executive coach, keynote speaker, composer, performer, and founder and CEO of Audira Labs. He's also the author of a book you should definitely pick up, which is called The Leadership Anthem: How Listening Like a Musician Creates Strong Performances. Thanks so much, Stephen.
Thank you, Russell. Really appreciate it.
Hi. Hello to you. That was it. That's all. That's Stephen. He's walking out the door. He's finished with us. This is Relationships at Work, a leadership podcast helping you build workplace connection, improve culture, and avoid blind spots. Super important 3 things. And wellness, it gets right into that workplace connection. It helps very much with improving culture. And wellness can help us avoid blind spots if we're more aware and in tune with ourselves and those around us. Hey, wellness covers a lot of things. It's foundational. It's key. Thank you very much to Steve Kohler for taking the time to help us understand wellness a little bit better. Super curious what resonated with you. Love to hear from you. Reach out on social or email. Email is my favorite. hello@russellolacher.com. Love to hear some of your takeaways this week. Anyway, I will leave it there. And thank you again for sharing your time with me. Tomorrow, we're back with solo podcasts. That's right. I'll be sharing a bit of my own insights and experience on how we can improve ourselves as leaders. also really short little bite-sized podcasts, and they drop every Friday. So I look forward to talking to you then. That'll be tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.